A lot of men think their biggest mistake in life will be choosing the wrong woman. No, their biggest mistake is what they become when they fall too deeply for one. Because most men do not fall in love in a healthy way. They fall in love in a way that makes them blind. They stop thinking clearly. They stop watching carefully. They stop leading themselves. And once a man stops leading himself, he is already in danger, whether he knows it or not. That is where the problem begins, not when she leaves, not when she disrespects you, not when the relationship becomes painful. It begins much earlier. At the moment you start making a woman bigger than your purpose, bigger than your standards, bigger than your peace of mind, that is when the damage starts, even if everything starts. He still looks good on the outside, because when a man falls in love the way most men do, he does not just care, he becomes attached, he starts building fantasies. He starts filling in the gaps with hope. He starts seeing not who she really is, but who he wants her to be. And once that happens, reality becomes very hard for him to accept. That is why some men can see red flags and still stay. That is why a man can be disrespected and still keep investing. That is why he can feel something is wrong in his spirit, and yet continue forcing it because he is already too emotionally trapped to walk away. And that is what many men call love. But let's be honest, brother, that is not love. That is emotional surrender. That is losing control of your judgment because your feelings have become louder than your discipline. And when feelings become louder than discipline, a man starts doing things that slowly destroy him. He starts overthinking simple things. He starts living off replies, attention, reassurance, and little signs. His mood rises when she is warm. His mood drops when she becomes cold. Without realizing it, he is handed over control of his emotions. Now she may not even be controlling him intentionally, but he is still being controlled. That is the danger of falling too deeply for a woman. The danger is not always what she does to you. Sometimes the real danger is what your attachment makes you do to yourself. You become softer where you should be stronger. You become patient with things you should never tolerate. You excuse behavior that would have disgusted you before you got emotionally hooked. You start negotiating with your own self-respect. And the worst part is, many men don't even notice it while it is happening. They call it loyalty. They call it commitment. They call it fighting for love, but many times it is just fear. Fear of losing her. Fear of starting again. Fear of accepting that the woman you built in your mind does not exist in real life. That hurts a man deeply, because now he is not just losing a woman. He is losing the fantasy he built around her. He is losing the version of life he imagined with her. He is losing the emotional drug she became in his system. And that is why some men break so badly. It was never just about her beauty. It was never just about her presence. It was about what he made her mean. And once a woman becomes your meaning, you are already finished, because no woman should ever carry that weight in your life. A woman can be part of your world, yes. She can bring joy, peace, support, beauty, warmth, yes, but she should never become the center of your emotional universe. The moment she does, your balance is gone. And once your balance is gone, your masculine frame starts collapsing in ways people can feel before you even speak. Your words change, your energy changes. Your decisions change. You start chasing clarity instead of observing truth. You start trying to keep her instead of asking whether she is even worth keeping. You start performing, overgiving, proving, explaining, tolerating, waiting, hoping. And that version of a man is almost never respected for long. Because people can feel when a man is standing on his feet, and when he is leaning emotionally, women can feel it too. That is why so many men get confused. They think loving harder will make her value them more. They think giving more, sacrificing more, tolerating more, explaining more will save the relationship. But many times the more emotionally consumed he becomes, the less attractive he becomes. Not because care is wrong, but because desperate care does not feel strong. It feels heavy. It feels fearful. It feels dependent, and women may enjoy that attention for a moment. But deep down, dependence rarely keeps attraction alive. This is why a man must learn a lesson many never learn early enough. You should be able to want a woman without needing her. You should be able to enjoy her without worshiping her. You should be able to care about her and still leave her. That last part is where real strength begins, because the man who cannot leave is not really choosing. He is trapped, and trapped men always suffer more. Now this does not mean become cold. It does not mean hate women. It does not mean never love, never feel, never connect. It means do not drown. It means do not hand your peace to somebody else. It means do not lose your clarity, because a woman gives you butterflies and emotional intensity. A lot of men think intense feelings mean they found something special. Not always. Sometimes intense feelings simply mean your unresolved emptiness has found something to attach to. Read that again, because many men are not falling in love with a woman. They are falling in love with what she awakens inside them. The validation, the excitement, the fantasy, the escape from loneliness, the hope, the sense of being chosen, the emotional rush of finally feeling wanted. And when you become addicted to what a woman makes you feel, you stop judging the relationship properly. Now you are easy to manipulate. Now you are easy to delay. Now you are easy to disrespect. Why? Because your heart is invested before your mind has even finished watching. That is why men get destroyed, not because love is evil, but because blind love makes men careless. And careless men pay expensive prices. Some lose money, some lose years, some lose their purpose, some lose their dignity. Some lose their self-respect so quietly that by the time the relationship ends, they do not even recognize themselves anymore. That is what deep, unhealthy attachment does. It empties a man slowly while convincing him he is being romantic. But now let's go deeper. What happens when a man stops falling in love like that? Everything changes. He becomes calmer. Not because he stopped caring, but because he stopped worshiping. He stops rushing. He stops forcing. He stops getting drunk on potential. He starts watching patterns instead of clinging to promises. He starts listening more carefully. He stops asking, how do I make her stay? And starts asking, does this woman deserve a place in my life? That shift alone changes the entire game. Because now he is choosing from strength, not from hunger. Now he is no longer trying to be saved by love. Now he is not impressed too quickly by beauty, attention, or chemistry. Now he is paying attention to peace, character, consistency, respect. Now he notices small signs earlier. Now he can walk away sooner. Now he can slow things down without fear. Now he can enjoy a woman's presence without making her his emotional home. And that is powerful, because the less a man needs a woman to complete him, the more clearly he can see her. And the more clearly he sees her, the less likely he is to destroy himself over the wrong one. That is the freedom many men need, to stop falling in love like boys. To stop making one woman feel like the answer to all their pain. To stop acting like being chosen by a woman is the highest prize in life. It is not. Your peace is higher. Your mission is higher. Your discipline is higher. Your self-respect is higher. And when a man truly understands that, he becomes different. He is still warm but not weak. Still loving but not lost. Still present but not possessed. Still open but never out of control. That man is dangerous in the right way, because he cannot be emotionally dragged where his mind does not agree to go. He does not collapse when a woman pulls away. He does not beg for clarity. He does not perform for affection. He does not confuse emotional chaos for connection. And because of that, he suffers less. He sees more, he chooses better, and the women who enter his life feel the difference. Why? Because he is no longer standing in front of them like a man asking to be completed. He is standing like a man who is already complete, and that energy changes everything. Now the relationship is no longer built on fear, it is built on choice. Now he is not staying because he cannot survive without her. He is staying because she brings something real to a life that was already standing. That is the kind of man who can actually lead. That is the kind of man who can actually love properly. That is the kind of man who does not lose himself every time a woman enters his life. So no. Never fall in love with a woman in the childish way the world sells it. Never lose your mind. Never lose your standards. Never lose your purpose. Never let your emotions drag you into worship. Be attracted, yes. Be open, yes. Be real, yes. But stay awake. Stay grounded. Stay disciplined. Because the man who stays in control of himself will always make better decisions than the man who lets feelings lead him everywhere. And at the end of the day, that is the real message. Do not become the kind of man who needs a woman to feel whole. Become the kind of man who is whole first. Then, if a woman enters your life, she adds to your peace. She does not become the source of it. That is how a man protects his heart without becoming cold. That is how a man keeps his strength without becoming bitter. That is how a man loves without losing himself. And in this world, that may be one of the most important lessons a man can learn. If this message spoke to you in any way, subscribe to this channel, like this video, and share it with someone who truly needs to hear this.